Hello again, it's me. I'm driving, as you can probably tell. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me. But yes, some of you may have noticed in the last couple of days that the Conservative Party, led by our Prime Minister David Cameron, is rather split when it comes to the issue of same-sex marriage, or gay marriage, as some are calling it. I prefer the term equal marriage. And I think 180 Conservative MPs are planning to vote against the government plans to legislate in favour of same-sex marriage. Yet they would deny that they are homophobes. A lot of the arguments against same-sex marriage, or equal marriage, gay marriage, whatever you want to call it, have come from a place of hysteria and fear. If you've noticed, a lot of the headlines around same-sex marriage and a lot of the arguments based on same-sex or against same-sex marriage rather, are based on the idea that two people of the same gender are unable to get married because marriage is seen traditionally as between a man and a woman. Now, they invoke the idea of tradition and preserving tradition as the mainstay of, or the main argument when it comes to arguing against legislating for same-sex marriage. That's a very dangerous thing to do, because tradition, if anything, has taught us that not all traditions were good. Things such as, Christmas, birthdays, like those kind of things, they're fine because they're harmless. But when it comes to tradition, it was tradition to keep slaves. It was traditional to deny women the vote. It was traditional that women didn't work. It was tradition that someone who was white couldn't marry someone who was of a different race or ethnicity. It was tradition that not everyone was entitled to vote, and that includes, I've mentioned women before, but also people who didn't own their own property. And it's also tradition. It was tradition that marriage was purely between a man and a woman, and that gay people. It was also tradition that homosexuality was illegal, and in some cases it was punishable, and still is in some countries, punishable by death or imprisonment. So to invoke the idea of tradition is a very dangerous thing to do. It's also a very weak argument when it comes to arguing against something. When you harken back to the past instead of harkening to the future. The idea, I'm gay. I'm in a long-term relationship, and one day I may want to get married. And currently living in Northern Ireland, that's not something that's open to me. I can enter into a civil partnership, but that's a totally different thing altogether, in my view. It's akin to a prenuptial agreement or a contractual obligation. It doesn't embrace the full equality that LGBT people deserve, which is what the government is trying to legislate for. I can almost talk, in England and Wales, and Scotland eventually as well. To say that gay people have civil partnerships and don't need marriage is the same as saying that Rosa Parks was lucky to have been on the bus at all. It's the same as saying she didn't need to sit at the front, she was already on the bus. Just because we have one thing that is similar doesn't mean we have the same thing. It just doesn't at all. So for me, this is a no-brainer. I don't understand why in 2013 we're still debating this. The arguments against same-sex marriage are, in my view, academic at best. The same arguments they used against same-sex marriage are the same arguments they used against civil partnerships and interracial marriage. Back when they were illegal, or not illegal, but didn't exist. And for me, it's going to be a matter of these people who argue against it are going to be seen similar to people who argued against giving black people the vote or full equality for women. They're going to be seen as dinosaurs. And I think it's... I understand why people may not agree with same-sex marriage. I don't begrudge them that view. They're allowed to do that. That's fine. But when it comes to using religious views to influence legislation, I have a problem with that. I also have a problem with when the government decides what's good love and what's bad love. My love for my partner is no less important or significant or equal to my mother's love for my father. It's the same. It's the exact same. I have the same feelings. I want the same things for us. And for people to say that because we're gay, we don't deserve those. Because you love somebody of the same gender, you're not entitled to the same rights, entitlements, opportunities, and responsibilities as me because I'm straight, is wrong. In a Western democracy, and in the 21st century, I don't think there's an argument against same-sex marriage that can legally hold up in court. I don't... Now, in saying that, I don't want churches to be forced to marry same-sex couples. I think that's wrong. That infringes upon freedom of religion. However, I do think that, equal civil marriage should be something that is open to everyone, and open to same-sex couples when it comes to civil partnerships as well. And until we have that, there's still a long way to go for LGBT equality in Britain, Northern Ireland, and the Western world, and the entire world in general. Some countries still, don't forget, like Iran and Sudan, they punish homosexuality with death. So we don't have it all bad, but we still have a long way to go. So that's my view. I'm going to park my car now, so thanks for listening. Bye!